Still watching Morning Cafe on TV 47. We continue with our conversations right here in studio, and the conversations during the break never stop as well. We're just looking at Raila Odinga's AUC bid and whether or not he stands a chance. So I'm still in studio with Josephat Kamanya, Hans Rop, and Kamau Mbio. Kamau, you wanted to comment on this. Kamanya has really given a very interesting and a bit pessimistic view of Raila's bid and prospects. On
my view, as a young person, I feel betrayed by Raila, and as a Kenyan and as a good, I really don't feel that he should get that seat. I don't want him to get that seat. That is my personal opinion as a Kenyan, because he betrayed us. And what I'll say, what goes around comes back around. May it come back around to him, that he fails and comes back here and goes now to where Bondo is now. That is my personal opinion. Now, you know, now the other,
it has been said before that he would go to Bondo.
The pessimistic, or wherever he goes, maybe in Karen, let him now rest. Now, to add on whatever Kamaya was saying, it's all about numbers. We have like 24 French countries. Now, it's French and Arab. You know, these people, they never leave. They even buy from each other, you know. Now, all that combination, it's coming around to 24. Mozambique, Mauritania, Togo, you know, going around the Saharan, he said that is Algeria, Morocco, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, Senegal, Guinea, Bissau there, you know. Now we come to some part of Sudan, that is the Sudan. Then there's Egypt, there's Eritrea, Djibouti, 24 countries. Now we have some, he said 10. I'll give him a 1, 11 total of countries. That is Kenya, I was doing my research here. There's Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, the East African community, some the Congo. You know, it will not go beyond 11. Now there's another undecided like 7. The Lesotho, the Namibia, the Botswana, those ones that they are not there, but they will have to look at the dynamics. And where are these dynamics coming in? Will make noise. Whatever made Zakayo to Shuka, that is what will make Raila to go. We will make terrible noise. We cannot, our noise, we cannot be having conversations that are uplifting this country, but someone is somewhere orchestrating his
do we really
interest.
think that our conversations locally will determine his vote? He already has a Kenyan
They
vote.
did. No, let me tell you, they did with our Gen Zs, and that conversation, it really spiked up the whole continent to the whole world. Yes. The same way, we will make some good noise to all these presidents and make sure that this guy does not go anywhere. Because, I mean, Raila, he was not fair at all. Being a Pan-African, someone who has been, is a Pan-Africanist,
the youth in Nyanza feel different. If you saw what they were saying yesterday, they are very much for him. So probably in Kenya, we may not say it is a one-sided conversation. Some support his bid, some do not.
But the majority, we are going with numbers here. That is why I'm saying the numbers.
Just respond to my friend here. You know, at times I always say, let's have a honest discussion. Let us not sit on this other end and see a mistake of the other person. The Bible even says that before you work on speak on someone's eye, check the local news. When this friend of mine is discussing about betrayal in Raila, these GNCs voted for Ruto. So how has Raila betrayed you? Raila has gone to sort himself. So how do you even say Raila betrayed you?
He also admits that the GNCs have taken a back step.
Yeah, so you cannot say today, you cannot believe in Ruto today, fought for Ruto, then you want to say Raila is a Pan-Africanist. Why didn't you notice him during the voting time? Number 2, when I had...
I personally voted for him, and I watched for him now to begin.
We cannot
I really campaigned for Raila.
We cannot for your information, the voting time. I really
used my energy, my resources. My name was tarnished from our community. I really believed in the ideologies of that man.
Okay. All right. And to give another response from Josephat has said we do not know who mobilized this team. You know, we've been here and we discussed who mobilized the GNCs. People assume that, you know, let us not have double speak, that when it comes to GNCs, it was automatic. I've been here and said there is a finance behind GNCs.
No.
Listen, let me, hold on.
I'll give you an opportunity.
Hold on. Yeah. So you cannot come to this other end and say those youths who were in a rally in Kisumu were financed. Those who were demonstrating then in the same Kisumu were not financed. Unless we have to think beyond that. And also, you know, all those kind of mobilization. However, I want to wish Raila well. I'm not, my analysis can just stay within the borders of Kenya. That's where I'm just, and the others I can just give maybe an extra thinking. But let me just assume, and let's assume there will be we used to say chicken what happened? I said there could be some magic in the 40. Raila could still...
So he needs a miracle, yeah?
He needs, to me, the way I observed, there must be some extra push for it.
So how come the president and his deputy appear keen on inheriting his backyard? Is it that they see even if he loses at the AU, he still does not have like risasi ya mwisho, hana risasi nyingine ya kufiatua hapa nchini?
Yeah, coming back home, the president and then his deputy has found, they have found a window of opportunity, and that's what they're trying to exploit. For far too long, they did not know how to handle the Right Honorable's political backyard beyond the NADCO report, because they had contained him in the NADCO report. And then the Gen Z revolution came, and then all of a sudden, there was a lot of unsettling and anxiety on how the political alignment was going to go. And we have seen the Right Honorable Odinga backpedaling. One day he's with the Gen Z, he says, yes, we need good governance. The next day he's with the president. And, you know, he's been, the dalliance has come up because he wants to seek the bid for the backing. And that's why you saw that event at the State House. That is all he was angling for. And that's the betrayal that came up. You know, he also saw an opportunity, and he was like, if I can try and pacify the political temperature right now, then they got into a deal. And we all know it was about this bid, that the backing he's receiving now. Gladly, he's not going to get it. Now, the president and the deputy president, they found a window, as I said, and they're trying to solidify his backyard. And, you know, the Right Honorable Odinga has been set up, because when he fails in February, the president will come out and say, I did my best. I even came to you and I told you that we are going to support him. But the hoi polloi, the masses of the African Union have spoken, and he has not gotten the bid. There is nothing more I can do. Now, come back, let's work together. This is a hoodwinking. I don't know why the Right Honorable Odinga is not seeing through it. He did not have to forfeit his political backyard just for the bid. You know, if it was a genuine conversation that the president really...
Is it a done deal? Because the papers are now talking about 2027 and the possibility of
No, these are just the political headlines that are making waves right now. But again, remember, the same people, much as we may want to downplay the effect of the economic dilapidation by this administration on the people, people are very angry. People are imploding. People are just saying that it does not matter whether you take my person from my community and make them a CS, whether you come and you have this homecoming event, whether you come and say you're going to build a road, that does not matter so long as the cost of living is still very high.
Ruto is saying
so long as the hospitals are still dysfunctional, you know. Now, the other thing we must agree, and I was very happy because I saw the current self-proclaimed leader of opposition, none other than Junet Mohammed, say that he's going to donate 2 more mulimas to the deputy president. You know, he did not just throw shade, he threw the whole tree on the deputy president. And he's trying to say that we have now, we have brought down your Mulima movement, which was erroneously not the right thing to say in such a platform. But I think the deputy president has gotten the message that moving on, if he has not managed to position himself as a national leader and not just as a community king's person, there is no room for him in the national politics. Secondly, you've heard the president say him and the Right Honorable Odinga, they were in ODM, they worked together, he's a good person, you know. You had to believe that 2 years ago, these are the same people. So he sees no issue with them working together and helping each other. But I dare ask Kenyans, and I would want every Kenyan to reflect on this. What has been the developmental agenda for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga over the years? None. None.
But he hasn't had the opportunity to implement anything.
But he has not campaigned with one. You see? And so that's why you realize every time he gets into government, we start with the Nusum Keka, the Nusum Kate of the late President Kibaki. What happened? Was there economic vibrance? None. He came then into Uhuru's government. What happened? Was there economic vibrance? Zero. Now, this administration stood by that they cannot let him into government, because the moment he does get into government, everything stalls. Everything's come into a standstill. But what have they done? Not only have they let him into government, but they have also assigned main ministries to his legion of politicians. Okay. Therefore, I beg to ask Kenyans, for how long are we going to be hoodwinked? For how long are we going to let this political game play out? The Right Honorable Odinga is going to the AU. He's not going to make it. The deputy and the deputy president, they're falling out. You see everything now they're doing today, they're just trying to pacify the masses. You saw the town hall meeting the president had last night in Kisumu. Where was the deputy president? Where was the deputy president? You know, at what point? At one point, they're together. Just he's been left to mobilize, and they're just portraying him like a clown, the deputy president. But beyond that, there is no agenda he comes out and speaks to. He's not talking about the teachers who are on strike. He's not talking about the plight of kids, the education insurance for the young kids. You know, and the kids are going back to school, but where are they? When they say they need to come back under administration of chief, how is that working out? So we must allow ourselves to walk away from this political narrative and focus on real contextual issues.
Yet the politicians have managed to take this away from you. Now they're talking about the possibility of an alliance come 2027. We're just focusing on the headlines.
Correct.
We do not create anything for ourselves. They're talking about the possibility of Ruto seizing Raila's power base, a Ruto-Raila deal to redefine 2027 race. Will Ruto-Raila pact yield new super alliance? We've just seen how a Ruto-Raila deal changed the conversation in the last 2 months. Completely. From a very heightened, very focused line of thinking by the younger generation. When you see such a headline about 2027, because you're saying, okay, fine, the Gen Z will re-emerge in 2027. This alliance, will you be able to fight it?
Yes, and we'll be able to fight it in this manner. This is my opinion.
Or rather counter it.
Yes, or rather counter it. This is my opinion. I said the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Who is the enemy of our enemy? And for us to change the narrative right now, and I would like to urge all my young leaders, and maybe rather gone mbele kidogo leaders, let us try and get these positions as much as possible in 2027 to change the narrative from inside. And how are we going to go inside through what narrative? This is my opinion. And this is according to me and what maybe I'll do. Personally, I'll join up with Kalonzo.
You don't think that probably a Gen Z candidate would work?
No.
You still go with the older generation?
You see, moving forward, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. For now, for what we have right now, what did Raila do?
3 years away.
Yes. We still don't have what it takes right now. Listen, as a
That's a very strange admission.
No, it's true. We don't have. This guy, it's no joke. Whichever alliance he has joined, no joke. As on a honest level, this alliance, if it comes true, it's a very, 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 it's a forceful forceful
It will be difficult to
alliance.
counter.
Difficult. Now, now you know why is he running there? Is because he has lost base here in Murima. You get? He has really, really lost base. So now what we should do as a people, for me, I'll go, these now responding to you, which other can? Kalonzo would do a very good pact. If him himself packages himself well, comes up. Remember, Kalonzo has been a former minister, has been a vice president. He's a loyalist. I don't know if we have, he's a good of a Gen Z. He is sellable to the Gen Zs because he's loyal. This guy was even, if you never knew, he was given, he had been given this job for AG. He refused, but he stood for the people. He has been loyal to Raila for 3 times. 3. You get? So for me, if Kalonzo packages himself well, he is a good...
And you believe that's the best deal for the younger generation?
And I believe those are the only 2 people. Come and you'll call me. Come then. Those are the only 2 people who will be the main.
Do you find that a bit...
Let me tell you, Fred, Gen Zs are still far away from politics of...
Thank you.
Far away.
Thank you.
If not even 2027. Because, you know, Kalonzo was a minister in 1980. How do you choose Kalonzo to be...
So if this alliance comes to fruition, that's it. It's a done deal.
We've had Kalonzo telling Raila, let's talk. So we don't know anything can happen. So if Kalonzo today chipped in, what happens to the GNCs who are saying they're going to Kalonzo's side? Let me tell you one thing.
Chipped in.
There's something I want to say. Is the passion for GNCs truth for growth or for hate? Are you fighting the president because you hate him or you want to have a conversation and better Kenya? There's something I've been asking myself. We still have 3 years to go. We need Ruto for the next 3 years. Before you discuss 2027, even I always say, tell many people, even you're a member of parliament, even if you're disappointed with him, you're a governor and whatever, the kind of a leader, you need that person for the few years because he is in a position of controlling resources that can change a country and probably your life. We need Ruto to change Kenya for these few years. What we need to do, instead of developing hate and want to fight and that you can go, is to hold this gentleman accountable to deliver to Kenyans. Not to fight like you are hating. It's like you have a fight between 2 people in a family, and there's always one who wants to blame the other. It's not raising issues to make a partner better. He or she's raising issues to paint the other person to be bad. You know, these people are Kenyans. They're human beings like us. You get it? All what we need to do, because election will come in 2027, we cannot do anything for the next 3 years. Will we be lamenting in the streets? No. Let us all, anybody in a position of decision making, into accountable. But saying now you'll go to Kalonzo. Kalonzo have been there. Give us a track record for Kalonzo apart from being a soft spoken.
I was responding to what the highlights are saying and what Fred asked. What if this alliance goes to play? What will come to play? I agree with you that we should hold into accountable. But who are you holding to accountable? We tried for 2 months to hold accountable, to hold this guy into account. 2 months, people died. What did he respond with? Bullets, goons. Now, how do you act? How do you reason out with someone who is not reasoning out? You know, if I start, they say if you argue with a fool, you become more foolish. Now, arguing or reasoning out with Ruto is that exercise is futility. He cannot listen. You
sound like you have a bit of optimism about this, what you call that agitation by the younger generation. According to his admission, it's died out, and they cannot counter that alliance if at all it comes to fruition.
You know,
Gen Z alone can't.
There is one thing we must agree, that the Gen Z revolution is not about political positions. Currently, it's not about political positions. It's about a good country, good governance, accountability, a better public policy. That is what the revolution is about. And that has not died off. That's what I'm saying. Now, you know, I hear different opinions, and I must allow myself to listen. However much I may not fully be in agreement or aligned to the idea, especially that now that Raila and the president seems to be forming a coalition that the case of 2027 is done. We still have 3 finance bills to contend with. We still have 3 academic years to go. We have over 20-something months before we get into serious campaigns. A lot is going to change. But what this is confirming is that we said UDA as a party is going to collapse. Here we are. We said ODM is going to have serious issues in terms of succession and leadership. Here we are. We did say there is going to be new political outfits and formations. This is the foundation of that. Yes, we do need political parties to get into the political arena. So, granted, the realignment is coming. This is just the beginning of it. There will be a whole exodus of members leaving UDA. There will be a whole, you see even now, the Kenya Kwanza alliance is fully split. NAK Kenya did not move to bed with the Azimio is split. The NAK Kenya is out of it. The Wiper is one leg out, one leg in. Jubilee is fully out, and many other parties.
I think even Wiper is out.
Yes.
Kalonzo said
DAP
the official
Kenya,
position
the Wamalwa party.
Yeah.
So there is a tower movement, There is a lot of differentiating that is happening in the political parties quietly. But it's going to manifest in a couple of months when now people get serious about where they stand. And I don't want to worry about 2027 yet, because I believe we must focus on uplifting and really trying to have an economic recovery strategy for this country for the time that the president will be in office, whether it is for the next few months or 1 year or at most the next 3 years.
Okay.
We have to focus on that and allow ourselves to not get wowed into the early campaigns of who is going to be the next president. We have very serious candidates who are going to come up. One, and I love the confidence of the Kubaso, Morara. When he was asked whether he would vie, he said yes. My reservations with the senior counsel, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, is that he's always looking for blessings. He's always looking for backup. He's always saying, my brother Raila, my brother. No, he needs to stand firm once and say, I am going to vie for presidency, or I am going to look for somebody to back. If he chooses to play second fiddle, like he has always done, he is not in the race. We have a very good, strong third person who seems to understand the economic question that we are trying to juggle with, that that we are seeking answers to. And this is none other than Jimmy Wanjigi. And
he also hasn't offered himself for president.
He said he's coming out. He said he's out already. He says he wants to change this country. He says he stands with the people. So these are people that we already have confirmed. There was Jeff Kulu? I'll tell you his name. He's an economist, and he vied in 2017 for presidency. And I've seen him start to come out and say he wants to now join the conversation. And these are serious persons that we need to now engaging and have a conversation and assess them moving forward. Because if Jimmy Wanjigi can answer the economic question, that is the answer we are looking for. If he now can merge forces, whether with Kalonzo, with Morara, with Rob, with Kamau, with yourself, that is a conversation we need to have. This issue of we need people from a certain political party or even region so that we can feel we are well represented in government. We are not looking for representation. If anything, the country is overrepresented. We are looking for development and an economic strategy that will enhance our public policy.
Okay, now that we are there, we may say 2027 is a bit far, but this alliance could do other things in the interim. One of them, and that people have talked about especially this week, has been the possibility of amending the Constitution. This week we marked the 14th year since the Constitution was promulgated in 2010. There's a lot that this conversation carries. The younger generation now coming into a better understanding of what is in the Constitution. But this new alliance already have crafted the NATCO report, already visualizing how they could change the leadership at the top. That agitation for amendment of the Constitution could just as well be hijacked by the same alliance for political expediency. Don't you see that going forward, that the political class, the same way they took the conversation from you, could take away the conversation about amending the Constitution?
It's a big risk, and I'll tell Kamaya and Rob here. I'm a young guy. who have studied the dynamics of the politics of this country by extension for a very long time. And in politics of this country, for you to change them, you have to change them from inside. Look at what Kibaki did. He tried and changed the politics of this country when he was inside. You get? Now, to change the dynamics of the politics of this country right now is when we infiltrate these people. And these people are seriously dangerous. They'll start the conversation of Katiba, changing the constitution, because they have the resources. They are in parliament. They are the majority in parliament. They have the president. Now, he has given them he has given ODM 4 new ministers. Let's say ODM is in government. ODM itself has the majority of members of parliament in the opposition. And all these people, Baba says jump. The majority of them, they ask how high. Apart from a few, and you have seen Babu is out, a few of them. Now, if that is proposed, UDA will pass the motion, ODM will pass it. And then we'll see something, a referendum may happen, or some changes in that parliament will happen, even without the people knowing. So for us to look into what may happen between now and 2020, it's a very crucial time, by the way. Very crucial. Look at what Ruto did in 2018. From 2017, an election, then this guy came back to the people, 2018. He then stayed with the people from 2018 to 2022, with the majority of these people. Don't joke with numbers in parliament. Don't joke. That is what brought hell in Uhuru's government, the numbers that Ruto had. Now these Ruto still have the numbers. So it's very, very, very possible. Very possible. We have much possibility of having constitutional changes.
Yes, but constitutional amendments could be necessary to some extent, but the political class has already made it clear that what they need in those changes is purely political. Creation of new offices, things that maybe not necessarily what Kenyans need, but they will lead the conversation, Hans. Don't you think that the same way we're missing out on the headlines, we'll miss out on an opportunity to have a proper conversation about what really needs to be changed, if at all?
You know, we forget many times that politics is all about self-interest. So I amend the constitution based on my interest in it. Once you finish self-interest, it goes to that of your family. What is it that you want for your family? After family, it goes to community. What is it that you want for your community? That's why you find Rigiji is all over with Molima. You get it? That's why he said that I was just there to fight to ensure our cabinet positions are retained. So that is how politics are. And there is a different face. I've been in politics before. I've given a try event to fight. Then I was 26 years of age. And I remember writing a serious manifesto, printing it out and distributing to people, and speaking my heart out on how we can change our politics as I ran for member of parliament. But people would say, if we would fought mouth speaking, this guy is fit, but he just doesn't have some cash. And remember, trust me, somebody who won over us, among other aspirants, is somebody who had a slogan called Chembeine, just because he has a tractor which has 4 plates. So how do you see how people resonate? What is it that I learned? I came to learn that most of how politicians behave, and I want you to do a research, if possible, do even a media research. How politicians behave today is run by the character of a voter. Because if a voter today takes a stand and say, we are not taking any cash, nobody will use money. If today we have a system whereby we'll say, let all aspirants who want to fight come to a media house like we are in this panel, or in every center, there's a day you come, you give your manifesto and go. We'll make a decision on how we'll vote, or somebody will make an individual decision. How does somebody win in Kenya for any seat? in how you've branded your cars, how many Prados do you have, what kind of oratorial skills do you have, how much money are you able to dish out, and then we have serious brokers who control our politics. How are you able to maintain the brokers? And the brokers, you maintain them, you maintain their wives, you maintain their children, you take their children to school, and so on. So it affects on how we do politics. So somebody goes to parliament, and instead of delivering in parliament, yeah, you go and find on how you can do corruption, make good money, then go back and buy the Ford back. So the problem, and there is an opaque object here between a voter and a politician. So many times we think it is the politician, but I want us to do an extra knowledge about it. How much you will want to blame this politician? Because even if we send all these politicians home today, a new crop comes in, okay? There'll always be a passion that is different from the village to make sure that they get money from politicians. The same way I was saying here before, that if we have any child who is in need, people will go to a politician's home. Even if there is somebody who is able here, a good business person, with good investment, and there is a politician who just get elected, maybe which is a small house, people will line in the politician's home. So what does it mean? It means the politician is the one with a problem or the one who is going to line at the politician's door. So it is going to affect on how we are going to do a constitution, because politicians have realized if we choose to take stand and I say today, I'm going to find my constituency, I will not dish any single coin. I'm talking on a basis of ideas that I will do to that constituency. I'll not be voted in. So this person will always want to change the constitution to suit them. Okay. And I've always say this statement for us, and this is my personal opinion, and one day it will be held accountable. There have been a discussion that Raila has never wanted to be a president in Kenya. And somehow I say yes. Because at times in this country, as much as you really want to deliver, it is difficult to deliver. So you'll rather play from a level of Raila, that every time you sneak to government through a back door. And when it is towards the election, you have to have, because there are a lot of political instability that every time you want to come up with an idea, it goes to court. It alters what you want to do to the country.
As talking about possible amendments to the Constitution, we talked about even possible return of the Pentagon. Some of these positions that politicians are keen to create is what they say could unify, like this discussion about broad-based, having a prime cabinet secretary, a official leader of opposition, all this prime minister's position, all that could solidify the alliance and could make this alliance stronger come 2027. That in itself means that the president stands a chance, now that he has the support of ODM, to drive Kenyans into a conversation and into the psychological conversation of amending the constitution as a leader and not really talking about anything else, because there's always a temptation to blame all the ails that the country is facing on the constitution. We had the BBI towards 2022, and all leaders have that tendency. Blame the constitution, let's change this constitution, it will make our lives better. Do you think that that could be used to play against Kenyans?
It could be used, but will it succeed? I think not. The greatest undoing this political realignment could do to the country is a continuous compromise of the National Assembly. Because remember, that's our legislative arm as a country. And as incompetent as it remains, this coalition could make it worse, because then there will be no voice of a dissenting voice in the National Assembly, and thereby they could get away with a lot of things in a few months or in a very short span of time. However, we the people, remember, we still have we the people, and I want to still believe that the Kenyans have not given up on their country. If anything goes wrong, either through the National Assembly or through this coalition, Kenyans need to stand up for what is right for us as countries. I mean, as Kenyans, as citizens.
The same Kenyans who are uploading the same, whatever is happening right now?
I mean, yes, because we must be very pragmatic and agree. All these events, political events you're seeing happening, there's a lot of hefty mobilization behind it. It does not everybody who comes to the market comes to buy. Some come to see the monkey, you know. So some come to see the owner of the monkey. Some come to just know the price of the monkey and all those, you know. But once people retreat to their homes, you've had, I don't know if you've seen some clips going around. People are in these rallies and they're saying, amekuja kutudanganya. The president is here to lie to us. You know, listen to him. You know, you saw during the demonstrations, people would say, tuko na wewe, finish and go. Today is Sunday, but on Tuesday we'll be out on the street. So people will come to the rallies. Even if you call for a rally, people will come. That does not translate to vote. You know, that does not translate to confidence. That does not translate to people believing in anything you're saying. Case in point, we had a very huge, we used to draw a lot of crowds during the campaign. But did that translate to votes? No. So people showing up like this is not really a matter of trust. Remember, there is a huge trust deficit between the people and the current administration led by the president. And I would want to confirm to Hans, there is nothing personal against the president. People don't hate him as a person. It is what he's standing for, the administration, the trust, the hope that people bestowed on him and the instruments of power. He's either underutilized them, misused them, or just not capable of leading the country in the right direction. And if anybody cares for this country like we do, we have honest Kenyans who love this country. We have honest Kenyans who want to see the transformation in this country. We have to critique. And even him is open to criticism. And he says, if something is not right, tell me. This is what people are doing. This is what the movement is about. This is what the revolution is about. Now, you raise a very valid concern about this alliance. What damage can it do to the country? So long as the legislative arm of the country, which is the National Assembly, is not compromised, we still have a chance of good leadership. But again, on the flip side of that is that to what extent can they go to salvage themselves politically? That is the concern I have. And the good thing is that the holder of the last vote is a Kenyan. And that's why I'm saying, let's not discuss about 2027 now. Let's focus on the real contextual issues that we want addressed. If it means going to court, people need to go to court. If it means going to the streets, it is our right to picket. You know, it's a form of communication to the administration that we are not comfortable with the kind of leadership we are expressing. If people need to boycott services, people will boycott services. So there is a lot of willingness and desire that is called upon from more Kenyans to stand up for what is right.
Okay.
I'm also hoping to see now the autonomy of the leaders we have, because I like the stand of one senior counsel, Orengo. He has distanced himself from this alliance, which is also another fragmentation from the ODM party, because he's been a pillar of the ODM.
He came back.
And yeah, but you see, the thing is, the moment you don't have a unison, you don't have a uniformed voice from the word go, it means you've had to make inroads. It means people are not really buying into the idea. Also, time is catching up. We have to be gracious to the good Lord. These guys are aging. And the campaigns and the kind of politicking my friend Hans is talking about is what we are rising up against. We no longer are going to tolerate the politics of deceit. We are no longer going to tolerate the politics of buying votes. The next election will not be about how well branded and how much money you're dishing out. It will be a question of character. It will be a contest of character. Who are you? What do you stand for? And what are you offering in terms of ideology for the people, all the way down to the top seat of the president.
All right, and yes, this week we're marking 14 years since the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010, and conversations around the possibility of making amendments which have so far proven ineffective and almost impossible could be reignited. I want us to move to one last conversation, and it has to do with corruption. This week we saw for the very first time a conviction of a former governor on matters corruption. But if you look at the headlines today on the Daily Nation, that's there on the front page, a small headline down there says, Lenol Kulal gets slap on the wrist. It's also there on the front page of the People Daily. I think they also call it a slap on the wrist. On the Standard, they say power to prison. Court sentences former Samburu governor to 8 years in prison or pay a fine of 85 million shillings. He's also been disqualified from public office for the next 10 years. Now, on one hand, it is a very positive thing that, yes, we've gotten the very first conviction. No other governor or former governor has been prosecuted successfully to the end, and for the court to actually give a conviction. This has happened, but many people feel not yet. The fraud was about 83 million shillings, so he's just been ordered to pay that plus a fine of 1 million shillings. And many people are feeling now this was a bit too soft, too lenient by the court. Yes. Do you think, because it was meant to serve to counter any other governor or deputy or county official or public official for that matter, who may be tempted to engage in corruption, do you think it has served that purpose?
No, it has not served that purpose, because I think we have an institution that is so corrupt itself that it does not deal with corruption. It's corrupt itself. ESCC. And I wonder why, what is 85 million to someone who has been in office for all that time, of which he has been stealing? So what are you telling us? You get, these guys should not be given a fine. These people should be, if found guilty, imprison them without the appeal, without the condition of this guy go straight to prison. We saw, and this is what will ail this country. We saw a cabinet secretary for corporation, Oparanya, had a graft case, but right now he's a minister. And that case ended. How convenient that case ended only when he was appointed or nominated to be a CS. How convenient. Interestingly, even this case against the former governor, there was an attempt by the ODPP to withdraw the case even before the conviction. Yet the court still found enough evidence to convict. How convenient. You know, now we don't have to have that conversation of corruption if, first of all, that EACC institution, if all of it is not thrown away and another people brought on board, and the president himself to stop. You heard Morara the other day say that the president should stop being corrupt himself. You get? Because all these projects that are being relaunched is a matter of corruption. Whatever conversations we are having today is because of corruption. The state of dilapidated social economy in this country is all because of corruption. We had the other day, I had the Secretary General of Jubilee say that there is a road that was launched when the president was in Kisii for the homecoming. This homecoming thing also is also another place that should be delved into. He was in Kisii to launch a few projects here and there. He launched a project that was launched in February 2018 by the president, the cancer center. And the money was given. So where is that money? Why are you launching a project first? You know, if it is to go back to the former regime, go back for them, ask them where is the money. Now, today I had the SG say that he even has documents, and to go into details, I even looked, I even myself have some of those documents, that he launched a project that has no contract. Okay. The contractor is on site, has no contract. He is the highest bidder. PPRA has written a letter to court and to Kera and told them this contractor is not supposed to be on site. But because he is the highest bidder, and he has given to the tunes of 1 billion to these people, he is on site. Such. The question is, human beings will definitely try to be cheeky here and there. That's why we have institutions. That's why we have from time to time seen former governors and even sitting governors arrested and taken through the process by the EACC, ODPP, and eventually arraigned. That is what we saw with Moses Lenol Kulal. This should have served as a deterrent, the fact that he actually got convicted. But the fact that he could get away with a simple fine means that anyone with money will get away going forward. Will this action serve as a deterrent to any future corrupt person?
I don't support corruption at all. You know, Fred, when we were here, I told you judiciary is corrupt. There's a time we discussed that. And I told you judiciary can be used to give court orders against the implementation of government projects. And we were discussing why the government at times can go against the court orders. And I told you, at times even people in opposition can fund the the judiciary to make sure that certain projects that can show development in a country don't go through. Why? Because of political interest in the coming election. But then we would really want to say, I know by the time a judgment is given, they use the constitution. So you cannot give on a mindset that this person did this. Like at times we've been seeing cases whereby a man could be raping a young baby, and then somebody say this person deserves to be killed. You know, we cannot give can't make rules on our own thinking. We use the constitution.
So is it a weakness in the constitution?
It is one I will say this number. I wouldn't call it a weakness in the constitution. If you check, we've been here before and we've discussed about it. If today they say that Hans, for example, was involved in a corruption of 85 million shillings, maybe of building a certain administration, and it doesn't mean that the whole 85 million shillings got lost. It could mean either I was given the same tender for 85 million because I am akin to the person in the authority. Therefore, I could have made a profit of like 15 million, but the administration is there. You get it? So if you find me 85 million shillings, when I'm convicted, it is a lot of money. You get it? Eh? So whatever this person is being accused of around 85 million shillings doesn't mean that he took all 85 million from the county treasury. Wait. Just hold on. He didn't took a whole 85 million from the county treasury and went it home. He did a business of 85 million shillings, which a profit could be 15 million, 20 million. Okay? That's why...
So you feel the punishment was enough?
The punishment actually is okay. The punishment is okay.
No.
But my thinking is...
You disagree with the ones who are saying it is a simple slap on the wrist?
It is not a simple slap. Well, let me tell you one thing. You know, at times politicians also have a lot of imagery. Haven't you seen situations whereby people got into positions, when they are voted out, they get so broke? You know, we see cars you see these big cars people driving. All of them are full of loans and so on. It doesn't mean today if I'm controlling 10 billion shillings, it means I'm 10 billion rich. We have a case, it's in public domain, of former media personnel who used to work with Mudavadi. We've seen him flossing with VAs and so on. Just a month, he's so broke. When an institution can sustain your movement, doesn't guarantee whatever you have in the account. And then lastly, when as we even charge whatever the government is doing, are we doing it to keep the government accountable, or we are doing to gain popularity?
Okay. I'm more concerned about our approach in the fight against corruption. We hoped that this would serve as a deterrent, but what is your take on this, Bwana Kamani?
Well, I think the essence of a penal code is to deter any violation of the law. This is a step in the right direction, because for so long we've been crying out for a conviction. You know, people are arrested, cases are dropped, are politically instigated or otherwise, but there has been no conviction, especially of the political class. So for me, this is a step in the right direction. However, I would want to say, is it that he's been used as an example? Because remember, he's now political muscle. He's not very effective. So no one needs him politically. Thus, it's easier to convict him than other persons who still have active cases. I have faith in our judicial system. And what I yearn for is full judicial independence, because that will now enable an institutionalization and of all other organs of government, so that we can have harmonious collaboration for better service delivery. Somebody is guilty, they subject him to the due process, and then we let the process take its course. The fines and the penalties and the sentencing are also limited, depending on the nature of the crime committed. You know, we have the whole financial act, you know, Financial Crimes Act. So I'm sure the judge or the court, in their own wisdom, found it fit to offer this sentence. The other concern, however, I have is regarding some characters who are still in government. Like we have an active member of parliament from Gatundu who allegedly shot and killed a person in Thika, you know, but they're still in office I think the case is still ongoing. How that plays out, we are yet to see, because there was even loss of life, you know. Sometimes we focus on corruption mainly because we hear of money, you know, real funds being mentioned. But corruption is a violation of the work ethics in the office that you've been accorded. Therefore, we must broaden the definition of corruption and the approach.
Do you think that our laws provide for proper punishment
Is
of
83 enough punishment?
those convicted of corruption?
Yeah, I'm persuaded that our laws are sufficient.
Because in comparison to other places like the Far East, they mete out much harsher punishment, including death.
It is true. It's true.
Just to serve as a deterrent.
Even a minor crime as possession of illegal substances warrants you to be sentenced to death, you know. Why? Because, you know, you cannot legislate behavior. What you do, you inculcate virtues and values in your culture. What is the approach that we have as a country on how we practice our social relation, you know, because social relation is what dictates the kind of leaders we also ascend into office. And that's why you hear people saying, oh, I'm going to campaign, so I need money. Because I know if I dish out money, these people will vote for me. But the true intent of you giving out money is not because you want people to buy into the ideas, because you want the votes. So what we have, there is a corrosion, is a moral corrosion in a country that we need to correct.
Okay.
You know, the erosion of virtues and morality is what is ailing this country. We saw largely that the campaigns were conducted on the pulpit in the churches, which is supposed to be the moral authority of the nation. And yet, they did not call out then, because they were beneficiaries of the donations that were happening there during those gatherings. Therefore, what we must work on is not just the legislative arm or the penal code. It is more of inculcating values and virtues socially, so that as people grow up, right now we have the Gen Z revolution because people have experienced a lot of civic education on the Constitution. We must now go a notch higher and see what is good social relation, what is good leadership, locally before.
And I have 3 minutes, so I'll give you about 60 seconds each.
I'll quickly differ with Hans. This governor was the former governor of Samburu, one of the most downsized counties in Kenya. They are very poor. This guy should have acted as, you know, as a good example. Give this guy good ears, you know, and give him good penalties that these other people will, you know. But now this guy...
You might argue it's just within as I said, the penal code. This is what is provided for in the law. So the question is,
we should go back. No, if I've told you amending the law, yes, if you are, no, these are the things that should be amended in the Constitution. These are the things that under the law, the judiciary, the LSK should work on. You get, we cannot be having, I'm seeing here that EACC is saying that these governors, former governors, have stolen money amounting to 100 billion. And now one person is just getting 83 million. That is, you get, yes. But I think we need to come into a conclusion as a country that when we are looking, this is the thing that is ailing this country, and it should be looked in seriously. Serious. This is what happened in China. Now look at how China is. Singapore, we were given independence with Singapore at the same time. Look how they are. Now look at us. Yes.
Well, Hans, final comment.
Thumbs up to judiciary. At least we can see something. So we wish them the best as they continue protecting Kenyans from such kind of human beings. Again, we need to tell Kenyans the truth. You know, we cannot judge somebody based on our thinking, as I've said before. At times, there's a conviction that somebody can do. And when you admit there's a standard punishment, maybe you can accept and you're just fined 10 million. There's nothing you can do. It is in the Constitution. So we have to follow the Constitution. We can never run the country as we want. So maybe the fine of this is 1 million. Maybe there's just a cap whereby you just return the same money.
Do you think that is enough?
I feel there's some weakness in the Constitution. So it's not about the judge.
We should have harsher punishment.
We should. For corruption, we need to do. In fact, at some point, I think in we've heard that in China you can be hanged out. Such things can be done for corruption.
Is it hanged
I
too?
support that. But then it doesn't mean that this person has stolen a lot, so he has a lot of money. This is no. This guy could even be broke. He could not even be having $1 million in his account.
Don't assume.
And answer number two. Listen, there's something I want to say.
We are short of time, yeah?
Is this? I want to tell the president to continue listening. There's some progress. I'd say that despite the fact we want to criticize whatever president has done, we should be honest human beings. You know, before you criticize someone, have another hand of appreciating whether that person has done. We are seeing town hall meetings. We want to believe it will heal some kind of change in his leadership and so on. Okay. And lastly, I want to wish all the best to Raila Odinga as he got tries AU bid. Okay. It is good also for our country. As much as we may not agree with him politically, all the best to you.
60 seconds.
Yeah, I think, Fred, today as a nation, we are at crossroads. We must decide which direction we want to take. Do we want furtherance on the political conversation, or do we want to embark on the socio-economic needs that we want addressed? It is the high time that we rise up and keep holding this government to account. We have no other country, and the leadership owes us a better public policy. So whatever dalliance they're exhibiting politically, let it not take our focus from what is rightly needed immediately. Our teachers need to go back to school. We need better services.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Josephat Kamanya, Kamau Wambio, and Hans Swap, our panelists this morning, as we took a look at the state of the nation and the big headlines. A lot of Ruto and Raila in the headlines this morning. But it is a feel-good Friday right here on Morning Cafe. So after the break, do stand by for some music and some nice interviews in as far as entertainment is concerned. For myself, my name is Freddie Ndumuli. Good morning.